It's been a long time since I last covered The Witcher, but I wanted to discuss the many races that you meet and fight across the games in a bit more depth. I'm also going to take this chance to incorporate a few of the older videos in this one, like If You Learn Something New, and let's dive straight in. The Witcher series takes place on the continent, who originally was populated by dwarfs, gnomes, and halflings, who all lived together in peace. A fully grown dwarf are chest height to an average human, but are tougher, stronger, and sturdier. Dwarves don't cut their beards, and are classed as mature once it reaches its waistline at around 55 years old, and they can live to be around 200. Their society has a clan structure. Gnomes are shorter and weaker, but far more agile. Identifiable by a slender body, pointed teeth, exceptionally long noses, and a lack of beard. Their clan structure's a bit more relaxed, acting more like a large community. Gnomes are famous for their swords, called a gwynhir, which is made from dark iron. They are highly sought after due to their beauty, lightweight, and sharpness, but are exceedingly expensive as production stopped for them 200 years ago. Halflings are short and chubby with large feet and a thick ram's fleece covering their feet and shins. They're exceptionally fast and immune to most magics, much to dismay of the ladies who can't access appearing altering magics. They're a peaceful race, likely to become farmers or merchants and have a passion for food or drink. In modern times, Markham, the last dwarven city, sits in the mountains between Temira, Aedirn, Rivia, and Lyria, and is shared with the halflings and a few gnomes. It's the biggest importer of iron and steel across the continent, with the dwarves and gnomes making the finest weapons and armour around, helping them integrate with human society easier than most. However, many dwarves are bitter at how they're treated by humans, so braid their beard as a sign of rebellion and join the Scoia'tael, an extremist group dedicated to fighting for freedom and equality for the non-human races. At one point in the continent's history, a cataclysmic event known as the Conjunction of Spheres occurred. This was a collision of every multiverse, tearing rifts open across all of space and time, leading to multiple races and monsters crossing over into the continent, along with an energy called pure primordial chaos. The first foreigners to arrive were the Elves, known as the Aen Shiden, arriving on white ships. Elves are unnaturally beautiful, with pointed ears and a lack of canine teeth, with a lifespan of around 400 years. Only young elves can have offspring, leading to a slow-growing population. Due to their similarities, humans can breed with elves, leading to half-elves and quadroons. Elven culture revolves around living in harmony with the land, with their warriors wearing natural furs and hides. When they arrived, they lived happily in peace with the dwarves, building magnificent towns, palaces, and places of worship. Very little is known of their religion, other than part of it of Dana Mebed, the mother goddess, who seems to be similar to the humans' goddess Melitet, the embodiment of fertility and love. Sadly, most of their culture was lost to humans, who built cities atop of their ruins. Elves that have integrated into human society face daily racism, so many choose to live in the wilds, with the biggest clan living in Dol Bathana, the Valley of the Flowers. Due to slow birth rates, war and prejudice, the elves are slowly dying out, causing many of the younger generation to join the Scoia'tael rebellion. We know of another type of elf called the Ehen Eli, living in other universes. Humans came next, arriving from our own Earth, calling everything before them the Elder Races, and their speech Elder Speech. When they arrived, they conquered, expanding and killing everything to make way for themselves. outnumbering the other races massively. It started with slaughter, but the racism continues to the point it is built into human society and culture. Not only is there frequent distrust and racism for the races in the Four Kingdoms where the games and books take place in, but these races are also subject to non-human tax from the government. Nilfgaard, who is portrayed as the bad guys across the books and games and series, coincidentally treats all of the races equally. Before they invade the Northern Kingdoms, they gave the leaders the option of submitting peacefully and remaining in charge of their kingdom, only serving the Emperor as a higher power, who would make the call for any land fights instead of thousands dying into war, which they do frequently. This equality leads the Scoia'tael to ally with Nilfgaard, wanting a better way of life. Humans already outnumber the elder races, but they also learned that they could tap into the primordial chaos to wield magic. Learning magic is risky, with most going mad while trying to control it. Schools have been set up to help with this, which focus on science and politics, due to most magic users becoming a ruler's advisor. Due to the risks, many magic users start as disabled, with society classing them as expendable. If they succeed, they can then use their magic to alter their body to become beautiful. A really rare occurrence is what's known as a source. These humans are born with the ability to cast powerful magic, but with no way to control it. In the Northern Kingdoms, the women have set up the Sorceresses' Lodge, who view themselves as a higher power than even the kings and queens they serve. With humans having expanded and settled, the towns and cities are mostly safe. But there are multiple creatures out there. Some are the result of a magic curse. Others are just animals that are big enough to count humans among their prey. Many are much more intelligent, with societies that are rarely explored. The Striga is a cursed woman, only coming out and hunting during the full moon, and can devour a human in seconds. The curse is simple to lift. Keep them out of their coffin at dawn, and they will turn back. However, that's not easy to do due to the Striga's speed and strength, leading most witches to just kill them without trying. Even if the victim is cured of the curse, their mental faculties may never recover, and they could relapse at any time. This can be prevented by wearing a magical amulet and performing rituals to ward off the curse. Vampires are a lot more complicated than you may think. There is a huge, diverse range of subspecies, all being classed as either lower or higher grade vampires. Lower grade vampires are little more than wild animals who drink blood to survive, such as the Equimara. Higher grade vampires are a different beast entirely. All of these subspecies are very intelligent, such as Alps and Bruxers. They all belong to one of three tribes: the Garishams, Amurun, or the Tidet. These higher grade vampires don't need blood to survive, but do get addicting to its intoxicating properties. The most powerful and intelligent subspecies are confusingly called vampires. The way to tell that they're not human is the lack of a shadow, and they don't show up in reflective surfaces. These vampires are practically unkillable, have superior speed, strength, and can turn invisible, hypnotize people at a glance, and fly during the full moon. The only real threat is another vampire, but their clan code forbids harming any other kind of vampire, with exile for those who break it. Vodyanoi, commonly called Dagons, are an intelligent race of fish people living deep in the Great Sea and Pantar River, whom they share with the Mer people. Despite being aquatic, they have muscular legs, with the ability to dilate their gills so they can breathe on land for a few minutes. The Dagon are one of the few races who have continued to grow and expand without meeting resistance from humans, because they live so deep underwater. There are huge underwater cities, and their blacksmiths create weapons and armour light enough to not impede swimming, and masks that can extend how long they can remain on the surface. The Dagon are deeply religious, with the main deity being the Lady of the Lake. A small few Dagon can wield magic. It is believed they are granted this power by their deity, so are made into priests. The Mer people they share the sea with live in peace. Mer people use a variant of Elder speech, but where everything is sung, and are rumoured to be able to summon the Kraken. This peaceful race is often mistaken for Sirens, a much more vicious creature with bat-like wings that can attack from above or below. Mer people, on the other hand, resemble beautiful humans on top, with fishtails instead of legs. An incubus is male, a succubus is female, but both belong to the same race of demons. They first appear in people's dreams, before appearing in person, draining the person's life force. However, they're not violence, instead being driven by an insatiable lust. Their never-ending advances, though pleasurable at first, have pushed more than one man to madness or even death. Trolls come in multiple forms, the most common being rock or ice, which protects skin and blood. They're a primitive race with a basic grasp of language. They mate for life and have an ingrained love of building, which has led to many human cities to let one live nearby, trading a toll for their services in keeping the bridge in repair. Their low intelligence can lead them to become angry quickly, which can be dangerous due to their strength and legendary regeneration abilities. This high metabolism does have its drawbacks, spreading venom very quickly through their body. Therianthrope refers to multiple humanoid races who shapeshift into an animal due to a curse or genetics. There are many different forms of this: were-cats, were-rats, were-bears. Werewolves in particular are known as lycanthropes. Genetic werewolves have adopted the worst of both species, man's cruelty and a wolf's bloodlust. But cursed ones cannot help it. They are forced to change during a full moon, with no memory of what happened after. The curses can be cured, but the method depends on the curse that was used. Regardless, every werewolf are strong and fast and recover very quickly. They live near humans and hunt at night, being most active during the full moon, as you'd expect. They also have an ability to call wolves for aid when in danger. Therianthropes are often confused with anthropes, but these are animals that can shapeshift into a human, like vixens, vulpuses, or fox demons. The third and final shape-shifting creature we will discuss is a Doppler, often called a mimic. This race can take the form of any person or animal that they've met before, providing they have a similar body weight. The Doppler is unique in they can also duplicate the clothing and equipment from the form they have stolen. Their natural form is almost never seen, but they won't be able to transform if bound with silver chains. They are said to have long limbs, noses and tongues. What's unique is the change isn't magical but physical, meaning magical detection spells don't work, and the equipment they get once transformed can be used forevermore. Dopplers are intelligent and cunning, but are luckily kind in nature. All Dryads are female, who live in Brockleian Forest, acting as its guardian, and are fiercely territorial, killing humans on sight. This has resulted in humans calling it the Forest of Death. Dryads will let leprechauns and Sylvians to live there, and often support the Scoia'tael. Without men, Dryads are born by either seducing other members or transforming human girls using mutagen containing water that runs through the forest, which, funnily enough, has healing properties when given to witches. Girls younger than 10 will become a full Dryad, any older and they will continue to sweat like a human. Dryads are small and slender and have a love of trees and music. They have mastered the art of shaping trees without harming them. Regardless if you are allowed in the forest, fire is strictly forbidden and axes are frowned upon, seen as a threat to the trees. Instead of fire, glow sticks made from fungi are used. There's also a subrace known as Hamadryads, who are symbiotic with the very trees themselves. Sylvians are exceedingly rare species of intelligent herbivores. They are large, with the lower half of a goat and upper half of a human, and goat's horns on their head. These horns have given them the name devil by commoners, but they are very rarely a threat and typically harmless. However, the race does have a love of tricks, pranks and riddles, so they can be a nuisance. But despite this, they're often very helpful in fertilising fields, scaring birds away, eating insects, etc. They can be more problematic if they let their lazy side loose, wasting their day smoking, drinking and eating. The worst of them will start to steal a bit too much and play a few too many tricks, causing a farmer to try and kick them out. A bad idea, as Sylvians are not just strong but surprisingly agile. Godlings are very rare creatures that resemble a human child, with large eyes and blue skin, and a personality to match, being childlike, mischievous and shy. They live in woodlands or swampy areas close to human dwellings, and love to look after humans and animals near their home, usually unseen. Godlings are drawn to joy and innocence, so love the company of children. They are kind, clever and hard-working, and they will perform numerous small services, wanting only respect and some leftover food in return. Despite their peaceful nature, they can get offended easily by ungrateful or rude behaviours, which will cause them to leave home, as they will if the human settlement they care for gets too big. Sadly, this kind race were one of the first victims of the humans expanding, and there isn't many left. So, how does humanity fight these creatures that hunt on them? They hire a witcher, of course. Witches are created using a mutagenic potion created by the Sorceress Lodge. The potion poisons a human, killing most of them, and the survivors will be painfully changed into a witcher over the course of 7 days. Witches have viper eyes that can instantly see changes in light, without the need to adjust. Their pulse is 4 times slower than a human, and they age at an undetectable rate. Their reflexes are lightning fast, and their emotions have been dampened. After these changes, they will learn how to use their newfound skills at one of the Witcher schools. There's the cat, bear, griffin, viper, lynx, and of course the wolf, which will give them a themed magical detecting medallion and 2 swords, a silver one, as many monsters have a weakness to it, and a much tougher iron one, made with meteoric ore for any other threat. Regardless of schooling, they will be taught how to know which sword to use and to hone their reflexes, so fighting is done on a near instinctual level, and how to use signs, the most basic form of magic that needs next to no magical training. For the few witches who didn't suffer that much for the first set of potions, a much stronger second dose was created. Next to nothing is known about this set, as Geralt is the only one who has ever survived. The only side effect we know for sure is it bleaches their hair a stark white colour. I really hope you enjoy the video. Subscribe for more. We do have a similar episode from the Elder Scrolls universe too, and I'll see you in the next one.